Can you hear us now? We had to, yeah, I know we don't have any sound.
Okay, how's
Someone
it?
told us.
How is it now? Do we need to do a refresh? Because Azalea did something a few seconds ago and adjusted the, what did you adjust?
The audio.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, still no sound. So let's do a refresh. Let's refresh.
What happened?
You get it?
Here, stop touching that. All right, how about now, y'all? I'm hearing people say yes now. I don't know why the camo logo is so big. Where
In
the
the
corner, in the bottom corner of the screen. On. Oh, no. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to fix something. Because this is stupid. There we go. I don't need everybody to know, everybody and their brother, about this camo outfit, and it's so big in the corner.
All right. Thank you, my friends. We are filming from the dining room because it is. Oh, something just happened.
I'm about to crash out and I'm about to start getting mad. I'm not gonna lie. It's this
Okay,
plug.
now well, we need to get a new. There's another.
It's our plug. We are using an ancient charger plugged into the computer, into the phone, and it has a pretty poor connection and it cuts out sometimes. It used to not do it so much, but now it's kind of doing it a lot more. But oh yeah, we have yarn this time. I collected a bunch of stuff from the studio. You guys probably didn't hear my speech the first time around about like a de-stash of yarn in the studio. I dug around in some of our old stuff from years ago. Stuff I don't feel like I'm going to use or that mom's going to use. So I listed and took a bunch of pictures of stuff today. We have a new collection page on the website called our Studio D-Stash, and that's where all this stuff is listed. I have as many details as I could figure out about each yarn, and you can find that. I'm going to drop a link right now so you guys can check out what we've got if we have anybody that likes to knit or crochet.
And not just knit. So I found some things around the studio that also did not need. Say you don't knit, say you don't crochet. So here's something I made. This is a long time ago, y'all. I used to make rag dolls all the time. This one has silk hair because, you know, I'm a big person. I like to touch things. And so I made this with silk yarn. So if you don't sew, there's one thing we can do. Here's another thing that Azalea did. Yarn for yarn hair that she doctored up with a straightening iron.
I brushed it out with a pet brush.
Yeah, the pet brush. And it gets nice and, I mean, it's very soft. Really cute. Is that adorable? When Azalea used to make these dolls more often. Marty, what do you think? Well, I got a pet. Oh, hello, Anne. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, my friends. Hello, hello. I'm showing some of the things that you can make. Let me see that rabbit you're working on.
It's not.
Let me do it.
It's not ready.
So it looks cool though. Check this thing out Azalea's working on.
Be careful not to pull those stitches off the end there.
Isn't that fun?
It will be
It's kind of
stuck.
like taxidermy a little bit.
It's what it looks like, and
On straight needles. So yeah, I don't know how she made this, but because I would do this. I would have crocheted this. Marty, what do you think? He likes it, Azalea.
yeah, he
It's
does.
some kind of alpaca silk yarn. It's very luxurious.
Oh,
You
I
can tell
didn't
it's
know.
silk. Look, you can tell it's silk. Look at his face.
Hey, he's biting it.
He's not biting it. He's just smelling it really good. And Azalea made those little eyes from resin. Although they're a little bit, they're kind of bulgy right now. And it's a little spooky. She has a plan for that though.
Yeah, I might give him some eyelids or something to make it less like freaky.
Sandy says, like that, and too cool. And Nancy says, my carb B came Friday. She is beautiful. That is good news. Those I don't want to say that I hoard those, but I have a few in my collection that I like a lot. Here's a little boot. Here's a boot. I used to make boots for my dolls and they were constantly falling off. This is no exception. Look, I did a little bit of beadwork. I don't know if you can see it with this vintage velvet. So I used to collect, and by used to, I mean I currently collect fabric and I make a bunch of stuff out of it. Most of the time, I like to make dolls and bags and pillows. And with the yarn, I knit and crochet, and I love making pom poms. And you know what? I had a big bag of pom poms, but we used them for the booth. We put them around on a piece of yarn to hang them, and so they made a pretty cool banner. And it's fun, it's just fun. They're relaxing and easy to make. One year at the knitting retreat that we go to, Azalea made you made so many pom poms that year. And so we strung them up and they made a really cool banner. I don't know what else you would call it. What else is that called? Not a banner. Not a wreath.
It wasn't really. It was kind of just
pom poms on a string. That's
facts.
what it was. And we also made we got a Japanese craft book that had directions to make animal pom poms, which were really cool. And I have that book. It's upstairs. I've shown it before a couple times.
I have a demo too.
Azalea's she has a quick demo she wants to show. So how do you want to do this, Azalea? You want to pass me some of this yarn? We have all of this.
You want to show the yarn first?
I want to show the yarn. And
did I drop that link
to show? Oh, garland. Thank you, Melanie. I don't know why I couldn't think of one garland. Duh. It's like, who else said that? Oh, hello, Bonnie. Cecilia says a chip off block. That's good. That's good news for me. Yes, garland. Yeah. Why don't I remember? Duh. Well, we could do. Oh, I could show this because I've been working on it for a couple hours. So you guys saw those dolls. What else do I have over here? What else do I show? Oh, so I took this off the wall. This is by a gal that's a local artist. What does her thing say here? The body line. I don't know if that's her brand or not. But this gal in Asheville makes these sculptures with found antique bowls, and some of them are in frames. I don't know what the other ones are. I've seen a bunch of them in cupcake tins. They're really neat. They have this tongue-in-cheek sort of delightful. I don't know. They're just effervescent. Is the word. I just love them. And so this is one I purchased, and it's been in the living room. Although I am suspecting now that I look at it that somebody's been poking their fingers in there. Doesn't it look like someone's poked it a little bit?
Your son, probably.
He can't resist. Anyway, this, if you look carefully, for those of you that know how to make a pom-pom or a tassel, you will recognize this technique. It's basically half of a pom-pom, or a pom-pom mounted in a bowl.
They made a full pom-pom and then squished it into that bowl.
Yeah. Or you can make if you made a tassel, it's the same, it's the same technique, which is pretty cool. It's basically how you wrap. So this is a good example of that, of something that's not knit or crochet, but is, something that you could do.
Fiber art.
Fiber art.
That's what we're doing tonight is fiber art.
We're doing fiber arts today. Bonnie says, I got a running bunny from Greg coming. Bonnie, you must be the person he was making them for, because I saw a batch of those sitting out there and he was carving between the ears. That spot right back here is always, the ears come back, like they're back like this. And that spot right here is where there's a little pile of pewter that doesn't want to come out in the mold. So it has to be hand carved out. So that's why that's sitting. Anyway, all right. Oh, so today our friend Tony Blackwell came to see us, and he played some of his music. I don't know if you all remember Tony from Zoa Arts from years ago. He made glass beads. He did jackets. He sent me a picture of a jacket he made, like a denim jacket. and it was really beautiful, and it got me in the mood to do like denim altering. It was something that, Candy would have looked really good in one of those jackets. So here's my hat. This is one I got in Tucson a year or so ago, and so I made this. Okay, so this is very easy. It took me almost a couple hours. So I'm gonna put it on this.
Well, I was listing all the yarn today.
While Zelly was listening,
crocheting this band.
I was listening to my friend Tony play some music. He has a very delightful kind of a Delta blues style. Let me just put it on and we'll see. Here we go. So, when I go outside, I wear a hat because I don't trust sunscreen. I wore sunscreen for years and years, and then I went to my dermatologist and they were like, "Oh, you have sun damage." And I was like, "Sun damage? I've been religious about my sunscreen." So I lost faith that day because I was religious about putting sunscreen on, and then come to find out I had some sun damage on my cheek. So anyway, check that out. That's my hat band. I might watercolor it because it is in a white and gray silk thread. Y'all think I'm highfalutin because I'm using silk thread, and you would be right. I could have used cotton, but sometimes I can't resist a little bit of luxury. Whoa! I just threw that ball. My necklace startled me. That's like twice today I got startled. Was that today that Max snuck up on me and I turned around and I screamed like I was in a horror movie?
You've been a little bit tender.
Like he came and I was just getting coffee and I turned around and he was standing there and I screamed like I was Jamie Lee Curtis.
Wow.
He laughed and laughed and I was like, listen. And then I had it hanging right here where I have my light sitting here. And this touched my hand, so that made me kind of yelp and throw the yarn. So
sensitive today.
Karen, you're 100%. Karen says new research claims sunscreen doesn't protect as it once thought to. That's right. Oh, Bonnie says it's probably damaged from when you were a kid. No. Ever since my mom was religious about it, and then I too became religious, and then like 5 years ago, I went in and I have. Oh, here's a side. This is sun damage, and this is from years and years of putting on. I mean, I didn't even go out in the sun because I grew up with people that looked like they'd been baking themselves so hard in Florida. Like, it was the time when people were like really getting a lot of sun and then not realizing that that's how you get cancer. So, I was for years, I didn't get out into the sun. So that was a surprise. So now I wear a hat everywhere. Wear a hat. It's the only way to be 100%, unless, of course, I think the most 100% are those weird shields that look like you're from the future. I don't know if it's from the future, but anyway, this was made very simply by making a little crochet in a line and then increasing from about here. It's basically, if you've ever done short rows, you just go back and forth and doing a increase. So there's no pattern. I just kind of made it up. And I used to do this with a very, very fine thread. And I just wanted to see how this would do. This isn't a fine thread. What would you say this is? It's like fingering? It's fingering? Like, this is not worsted. This is
could be DK.
DK. See, this is a silk. It's a mulberry silk. It's not the shiny silk, but one that has a little bit of tooth. It feels kind of like cotton, like a soft cotton. But I think once I do the I want to block. So you know what I do? I dip my projects in water afterwards and then pin them to a board. I don't know if I'm going to do this with this, but I thought it kind of looked like. Doesn't it look like a chanterelle a little bit? Originally, I was going to make it like this. It wasn't going to be a hat band until I started thinking, hey, you know what I need? I don't need another necklace, and I'm not going to wear that thing around my neck. At first, I thought I was. I bought a does that say 16 minutes? I've been talking for 16 minutes. This actually would be better on Mark. Let's see how he No, son, don't bite. Don't bite. Here, do this. Let's see how it looks. He's going to swallow it. This is now for real. It needs to be dipped because his breath is not wonderful, even though it's. He's like, don't touch me. So anyway, that's where I increased it right there. So should we show that now? Azalea, show the yarn. What do you think? Show yarn or show this? I need to turn it to this direction. All right,
I have a demo.
She's got a demo.
I
I'm gonna
do.
show
That
this
doesn't
real quick.
require crochet or knit skills.
This is going to show some crochet. Just about a few minutes. I didn't realize I was talking for so long. Can you believe that? They're talking. Oh, they changed this.
It's the same layout. It's just a different color now.
Now, how do I see your camera? Where's your camera?
It's literally the same spot it's always been in, Mama. It's right here. Click on. Just look. Okay.
It says it, reading that from here. Yeah, where is it?
It's at the top. Here, give me that thing.
Sorry, y'all.
What is all of that? Who's John Appleseed? Where's all this stuff coming from, bro?
John Appleseed is one of our customers out of Japan and Portland.
Well, that I have no idea why that would show up on our camo.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And the camera keeps cutting out. It's like a little bit of like low-key torture specifically for me. Here we go.
Did it catch up?
Yeah, it's on there. Can you guys still see and hear us? I don't trust nothing anymore.
This is what's fun about this is that it will make this roughly mushroom shape from just increases. There's no decreases here. Yeah, Wendy, he doesn't want to wear that. Wendy says all of the spots that I have my melanoma where the sun doesn't even hit. Weird. Yeah, I don't love that. Oh, thank you, Stimuli. Says you're good. Hello, Dale. Hello, my friends. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys can see and hear me. All right, so one single crochet in a column or 2 rows. And then once I got to about here is when I started to do some increases. And an increase is when you put your stitches. This is an increase here in crochet. I'm going to do real quick. I'm doing a double or a, what do they call it in English if you're English? A double crochet there is a half.
A double crochet there
Yeah.
is a single crochet here.
Yeah.
So in England, whenever you do a single crochet, they call that a double crochet. I'm not really sure why that is.
Yeah, it just kind of makes it different. So if you were to follow an increase in every other stitch, it'll ruffle faster. So you can kind of control that. And if you do not increase, it will just follow the same curvature. So in that one, I put 2 in the same stitch. So this is a fingering weight. And usually with this, I would maybe hold this together with another thread. But crochet, it's kind of good to use a lighter thread because I feel like thick thread, and not even that thick, will make a very dense and heavy duty fabric. Finish this row up before putting on some pom-poms. So I measured this. It turned out I was going to do like a collar that I could tie by leaving this kind of in the same vein as a ruff, like Elizabethan. Grab that. This is what it looks like. And it's a silk yarn. It's like a double. It's like barely worsted weight is 4 strands. But this is nice. So anyway, Azalea and I went through the collection of yarn and we have our first batch and we put it in the de-stash part of the site. So if you're interested in seeing what we put up there, I will be showing it here in a second. So this is all a double crochet right here, or a single if you're British. So it makes the only real difference.
Oh
is
no,
the
it's
height.
you got it backwards.
What did
If
I
you're
just
doing
say?
a single crochet here, they call it a double crochet there.
Oh, well,
I don't
doing a
know what the
double
other way
crochet
is.
here. I don't know
Well,
if they call it a
I
double
mean, you
crochet.
just accommodate for that.
Just
They
a
can
dou-
figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So here's a hack. So it's a twist or a yarn over, and then you go in and you go through and bring up a loop, go through all, and that gives you the next size down. The size that's next is this. You don't need to do a yarn over, it's just a single. And you come through that way. And I've been doing this where there's no pattern. I'm just increasing and I'm not doing any decreasing. And the only thing I am doing is changing the height of the stitches. So you can see this side is a little bit different from here, so that I'm changing the width of this. And then I added a few of these holes here by chaining over. See that? It's so it's giving it a look like a mushroom. That's what I was doing there. Mariana says, what is the size of the hook you are using? This is a 2.775 millimeter or a C hook. These are my favorite because it's a tapered. I have some inline where it's kind of just pointed and then has a cutout hook from the edge. It's like it's not shaped like this one, but these are my favorite because they can really get in there. And I tend to crochet tight, so these can get into tight stitches. So here's a single crochet. It might be kind of difficult to see that on this textured or two-tone yarn. It's my favorite though to use one that has a little bit of texture like this. And you know what I like to do with this kind of yarn? I like to dye it. And I use different dyes. Sometimes even if it's not supposed to be washed, I will go in with acrylics and inks, which I might do that treatment with this. And so I did a succession there of single where it's the shortest, and then I went up to the next tallest, and here's the next tallest. In the same stitch, you can get a taller stitch, and you can make little shells. So this is technically called freeform crochet, what I'm doing. But really what it is just increasing continuously, and it makes the shell sort of fabric. And if you let it sort of follow its own thing, it will twist and make this short sort of shape. Now, if you wanted to lay flat, which is what I did, I flattened it all out and all going the same direction. You could tack that down to something with structure, like a piece of leather or felt. And once it's sewn on, it will maintain the rough sort of, the wave where it undulates. Oh, bring it on, my daughter.
You want to show it?
Yeah, let's see it.
This is what I'm currently working on. Friendship bracelet.
You guys recognize this?
That's a chevron friendship bracelet. I've been making other ones with patterns lately, like complex ones for me and my friends. But I just decided the other day to make a relaxing, just a simple rainbow chevron design. And I was talking to Mom about demoing that same technique tonight, but with fewer colors, with thicker yarn.
Do it. Let's
Okay.
see it. Let me see that yarn you have there. What's that beeping?
It's the computer. No, it's the computer disconnecting and connecting the freaking camera over and over again. I'm not really sure why it's doing all that.
Yes,
Look at that. Why is it doing this to
technical
me?
difficulties today. If it isn't one thing, it's another.
I'm about to get mad, y'all. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I can say that we do not have state-of-the-art equipment.
We don't.
We have very basic phones and a laptop that is not new. So guess what? That's what's happening. You know what I saw, Azalea? I saw a friendship bracelet on Free People. Y'all ever look at Free People? Well, I love that website. And they had little bits of friendship bracelet like this long, and they were tying it into a little loop. And it was for a Birkenstock sandal to put on there, like a friendship bracelet for your sandal.
Oh, my heart friendship bracelet. Yeah, I finished that like a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, tonight I wanted to show, because since we were talking about making hat bands, I thought like the friendship bracelet knotting technique is pretty simple, and you don't have to like have any tension. You don't have to like wrap any yarn around your pinky or have any sort of tension with a hook or any knitting needles. It's pretty nice and easy. And if you do it with yarn, this is worsted weight acrylic that I got at the freebie table at the Pearls Yarn Emporium retreat. Um, I think a hat band would build up pretty quick, especially with that knotting technique. It'd probably be nice and thick too.
Oh, I would love it.
Fabric.
Do you want to, let's look at the time. We're at the almost halfway point. So do you want to show that, or do you want to show some of this yarn?
I can show that pretty quick.
Okay, let's start it.
You can just
Oh yeah, you guys, you know what? Okay, they all show the model of being like 20 somethings, but if you read the reviews, all of the reviews are like 45 to 60-year-olds. It's like I'm their target audience. It's not for, well, I don't know what young people like 20 somethings can pay Free People prices for their stuff. At least when I was Zonia's age, that was out of my budget.
yeah. I don't even know what any of this is that we're talking about.
It's a clothing brand like Sundance. It has that really bohemian vibe.
All right, so this is my little binder book. I just use this to clip my projects onto because I didn't find a clipboard, and this binder clip is nice and strong. So really all you need is either tape to tape your project down to the table or something like this that you can clip your project to. You need yarn, as many colors as you feel like, but the fewer colors, the easier it is you can stay organized, and then just some scissors. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to pick my first color, and I'm going to get a piece of yarn that's about the length of my wingspan. And if you run out of yarn during a project, I found a video on on YouTube that was like 15 seconds long showing a easy method to add more. So you don't have to labor over your length of yarn. If you run out, you can add more with some like tape and stuff. And then not with tape, but you know what I mean? It helps. So I'm getting a wingspan amount of my first color, snip, and then I'm going to fold it in half and set it aside for a second. Then I'm going to get my second color, this dark purple, and we can organize the layout of these colors in just a second. Getting another wingspan length. I used to make these all the time when I was little, but I never really did a very good job on them. It was only in like this past month that I've been into it, making them for all my friends and my new friends. Okay, now we have two folded in half wingspan lengths colors, and then we're going to get this last one because I thought these three would look good together as kind of a gradient. A gradient in friendship bracelets is really satisfying, I think. All right. So usually I like to do like a fancy little loop at the very top to finish out, to like make my bracelet look nice and neat for the class. But since I wanted to make this kind of quick, I have layered up all three colors. They're all folded in half, and I've laid them all out together. And at this top where the loop is folded, I'm just going to make a knot with all three of them together. It's a little bit fiddly. I think that's right. All right, there we go. And this just serves to keep everything in place. And also when I'm done, if I can make this to like a full length hat band, this will be good for tying it onto different hats. Or it could even be like a really fat, dense bracelet if you don't want it to be a hat band. So now that I've got this loop, I'm going to clip it to my little board, my little binder thing, to make sure it doesn't move. You don't want to use any sort of washi tape because that'll pull right out. You don't want to use masking tape. You either want to use like duct tape, scotch tape, or some sort of clip because it's much stronger. So now we have 6 strings because all these colors, we have 3 colors folded in half, and I'm going to arrange it in the order that I want my colors to show up in the bracelet from top to bottom. So let's say I want to start with the light first. I'm going to split these in half. I'm going to go the light purple into this kind of dusky purpley blue, and then this more eggplant purple. And I'm going to mirror that on the other side. So it's going to look like this. And the first row of knots that you're going to do, since there's a tight knot right here and all of the colors like bunched together, it's going to come out and look a little bit wonky at the top, but as you keep going, it's going to flatten out and look good. So here we have everything organized, all of our colors laid out. I'm going to start on this side. And what we're going to do is we're going to make what is called a forward knot, which is essentially just like your classic knot that you would do with anything. We're going to make a shape of a 4, taking our first color and laying it over our second color so it looks like a 4. And we're going to take this thread in like this, get this out of the way. And this is what is called a half knot after you pull it all the way tight to the top. So we just want to do that a second time. Make a 4 shape, pass that thread through, or the yarn, I guess. I'm used to saying thread because I was using embroidery floss, and then tie it. And once you've done that, those 2 times, that's a forward knot. So now you lay that out, you lay out this color that we just made the knot on and set it aside. And what we're going to do today is called a chevron design. So now I'm going to make my second knot on top of this one. This is also going to be a forward knot on my darkest color. So this design is going to be pretty simple because we have very few colors to work with. I'm going to make sure nothing's getting tangled up at the top. Make a second forward knot. And now you can see that there's 2 knots right here at the top. Maybe I'm actually going to get a little bit of zoom because you probably can't see it very good. I would love it if this watermark thing would stop showing up. It's making me mad. Stop clicking it. Sorry, you guys. Camo did an update, and whenever they do that, it's like screws us over. But they like changing stuff around, and it was making it kind of hard to keep up with. All right, here we go. I don't know if that's still in focus, but this is our progress. Just 2 knots so far, 2 forward knots. So now our organization, like our layout of these colors are different, and we don't want to move that around again. So we'll now leave this light purple one in the center. We're going to go to the other side. Now we're going to take our layout the way we had it on the other side, going from light purple, medium purple, dark purple, and we're going to do what's called a backwards knot. And other people were saying, like what I just showed just now, making a knot that's like the shape of a 4. Now we're going to make one that looks like the shape of like a P, so like a backwards 4, essentially. So we're going to lay it over like this, P shape, the first color over the second color, and pass that one through. Oop, got it right. And then while you're keeping your, and here's another tip. If you are making your knots and you pull them just like this, there's a chance that your secondary color that you don't want to be visible, you want the light purple to be visible in the first round, is going to be peeking through. So if you hold your secondary color tight like this, so it just looks like your color that you're knotting with is just wrapped around, and you pull it up instead of to the side, it makes a much cleaner, nicer knot. So we're going to do that a second time. The backwards knot, making a shape of a 4. Oh no, you can't see because I zoomed in too hard. 4 shape.
Yeah, very useful.
Now since I was making a knot on this color, I'm going to keep this one straight down and take this one to slide the knot up, and then it looks much cleaner. So now we're going to set that color aside, and we're going to do the same thing on the purple one, this dark purple one that's close to the center. We're going to make another little backwards knot, like so. And those are the backwards and forwards knots are the only ones that you need to know to make friendship bracelets. It's just those same 2 that kind of like switch back and forth to make your different designs, because then you can do like really fancy stuff too. All right, so now we're in the middle, and we have this big old gap between our 2 light purples that used to be on the outer edges and are now made their way into the center. And we're making a chevron design, which is going to look like this, where it's all, pointing down towards the center. And with that center knot right there, we're going to just do a basic forward knot between these 2 last colors. Make sure this one's hold tight. That's forward knot. The only thing about making with acrylic yarn is that it's so slick. Some of the stitches or some of the knots are starting to they pull a little bit. So if you do make something like this with yarn, it looks like acrylic is kind of slippery. It kind of see how it looks a little bit muddled up there. It's because that knot got shifted, but it's okay. It's not going to be that noticeable at the end. So now the orientation of our strings has changed. Now these used to be on the outer edge. Now they're in the middle. We're going to repeat that process, but now this is our knotting yarn. So we're going to do the exact same thing we just did, but with this new color. So on this side, we're doing forward knots with the shape of a 4 over the darkest purple. Knot that all the way up to the top, forward knot. Do a second one right here. And now we're going to go on to the light purple. That's 2 knots right there. And keep making sure that these are pulled out. See, they keep sliding upwards because of the slickness of the acrylic yarn, but that's okay. Okay, I can live with that. And now we're going to repeat it on the other side. So now our orientation has changed again, where the medium blue, medium purple is now in the center, and the darkest one is at the edge. So I bet you can guess that that's going to be the next color that we work with. But not before we do backward knots on this side all the way across. I think this would work really good with like cotton yarn, since embroidery floss doesn't really shift very much, and embroidery floss tends to be cotton. So that might be easier because it won't slide around so much. This, I probably should have grabbed a different one, but it still works. It just is slippery.
You get a nice sheen with it.
So now we're back in the middle again, and we do that forward knot in between our 2 center threads to kind of finish up the row of knots. Tie that up. There we go. So you can probably tell, even though it's a little messy, that we have something going here with the color gradient, where it started out light purple, now it's medium blue, and these next knots are going to be purple, or the dark purple, and it's going to keep repeating throughout the thing. And if you add a whole bunch of colors like I did here, not only will your bracelet be a lot wider, it's going to be really like, it's super thick and sturdy. And it makes a very, very dense, like really tough, stiff fabric. I like it a lot. I've been having fun making this. It looks a little bit goofy, like some stuff that people were making like 2016. But I'm just gonna enjoy anyway.
No, that's much earlier.
Well, that stuff came back.
When is the friendship bracelet? We would make those when we were in elementary school.
Oh yeah.
And you know what else we would make? Those safety pin to pin onto your shoelaces or onto your jackets, your denim jackets. So you would collect them. They call them friendship pins.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm probably not teaching anybody anything new here. I'm just talking about.
I didn't remember that thing with the chevron. I forgot all about that. I could have told you how to do it from one end to the other, but the chevron was one I did not recall how to make. It was a good refresher.
Been having fun.
Yeah, they look great. You know, they would. I told Azalea, I said, use some of our Green Girl buttons to close them off, and I can use them in our photos as an idea. And I've made some really complicated, it looks complicated, but it was woven. The other thing I was just about to say, the other thing that you can make is weavings. And I just bought a kit from a vendor. It was a wall hanging and it had a bunch of different kinds of yarn in it, but it was to make a round, it was like a round frame weaving. It's pretty cool.
It does sound cool. I remember when you got that, but I didn't know what it was.
Just a little weaving kit.
Cute.
Yeah, I was like, I need more yarn. I don't need more yarn, but I got it anyway. But you know, Azalea and I were talking about that, and it's sometimes you go through stages where you might be into a certain color, and you'll see by this palette that it's a lot of neutrals. And now I have been getting everything in like the pink and green. But I went through a stage where it was like black, gray, darks, and things that had a muted color. And now I want everything in fluorescence. I don't know what happened. It's I don't know. You know, my mom used to say, you know, you look like you are dead.
What? Oh, because you're kind of gosh.
She would say, yeah, because I used to wear all black, and I used to wear black lipstick and my powder because I lived in Orlando. The white powder that I was using to make myself look like Robert Smith would not look great
Okay.
when it started to get warm. And
Oh, and I bet on your your darker skin tone, it probably did.
it did look.
Whoa, yeah, she clocked you. That's crazy.
She was like,
I'm just picturing how that looked on your skin tone, making it more
Yeah.
like muddled out.
it was popular to have a.
But sickly.
It was popular during my. I don't want to call it a goth phase because it would be embarrassing to the goth community. With my choices.
See that it's starting to build up. It's looking a little better than it was, but you can see definite like color gradient happening.
Bonnie says, I wonder if it would look good with colored 1mm leather. Yes.
Oh yeah, you could probably if it's like in any way like yarn or thread or any sort of fiber cord, you can do it with literally anything. There's some that like acrylic is going to be kind of it's going to be slick because you can see up here where like this was supposed to be just all blue, but you can see kind of some peaking of the light purple. That's because the knots were not holding in place as sturdy and they started to like twist almost like they were trying to come undone. It won't come undone. These are like extremely sturdy, but the colors of like your previous colors can peek through the next rows because it kind of like the knots, since it's so slick, the knots will turn.
Well, some yarn is for that will give you. Cotton is known for giving
is
a
the best.
tan.
Yeah.
Linen will give
Kathy
you a crisp
says-
tan.
Kathy says, how about Ceylon? I don't know. I think that's a bit slick. You'll be knotting for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
It'll take a
that's
long
a
time.
labor of love. In fact, I have a bracelet. I'm gonna
Sandra asked, what thread am I using? This is just basic DMC cotton embroidery floss. They're at like all the craft stores. They're at Walmart. They're just the little like the tiny skeins of embroidery floss. But I know that for a fact it's like it's cotton for sure. And so it holds up pretty easily. I could probably show a round of this if y'all wanted to see me work on this one instead of working on this boring 3 colors. This one has like what six colors maybe. Wait, how many colors do I have here? 8. I have like 8 colors. So you can see I spent a lot of I had a lot of attention aimed at the purple and pink zone. But I'm having fun with this one. It's very I don't know why, but it makes me think of Tucson a little bit. I think it's because everybody's got a lot of like beaded and friendship bracelet looking stuff on. What do you have? Oh yeah. That's like that basket weaving technique, isn't it?
No, this is just regular weaving. And so this is the equivalent of this. This is a hand-dyed linen thread. So I was using, this took my whole life to do. And look here, this is gold thread and linen. So this was done. And I had a lot of problems with getting a perfect straight edge. And at first, it really bugged me. But now I kind of just embrace it. And actually, I got a little bit better because I got a tip from a friend of mine that said, use these bars on the sides and then don't pull them, because I was pulling them kind of in and it tucked it all in. So this is the texture you would get with a fine thread. So if you were to use, this is how it would look. Like this, because it's the same type of thing where you're using, this is just in and out like regular weaving, but these are the actual knots, and this is a thicker thread, probably a worsted weight, I would say.
Yeah, it's worsted weight acrylic.
Karen says, I use Eslon for macrame. Yeah, that would look really pretty, especially that one that was a little bit on the thicker side. Samuel says, I like the rainbow color one, Azalea. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I offered to show around me working on that one because this one only has a three level color scheme. I can show the one that's a little bit more entertaining. Oh wait, what am I doing? I need this. Take this off. See, look, there's actually no, this edge is not that clean. But if you look closely at the edge of this one, I did some knotting around the loop because when I folded the colors in half right here, instead of starting like this with a knot, I went and did a little bit around the edge. And then I kind of had a little bit of a mess up right here. That's why that looks so ugly, but I'm actually going to turn this into probably something else. This right here might get chopped and I might sew a piece of leather on the end to keep it from unraveling because I made a mistake.
Or you could do this. So here, you could do this. So if you have a loop already, you could thread in leather through there and make a clasp. So that it's like, so just imagine this is one. This is a necklace that's finished, but I'm just trying to illustrate that you could do that. With pretend that's just one of them through there. So that's an idea too. If you want to finish both sides with that, you can then just tie it with one piece, like in a bow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna flip this in place. Yeah, this one needs a little bit more work on the end because I messed it up when I was starting it. I had Supernatural on. I was distracted. I'm sorry, but well, I was
Well,
hanging
they
out
were
with
being
my
very
friends.
dramatic.
Yeah, I
That was
was
very
watching. I
dramatic.
was with my friends, and I was teaching my best friend Lily how to make these. And I was distracted, kind of watching the show and teaching her at the same time. So that's why that looks so ugly. My other ones look way more professional.
Oh, I think it looks beautiful.
No, this part looks beautiful, just not the knot at the top. That's where I made the mistake. And I hate looking at it. I kind of want to just be like, boink, hide that.
Sandra wouldn't mind seeing a round of the rainbow. Try doing
Yeah.
that. Just go give an example of what you were doing because it looks
Yeah.
great.
The rainbow one is the same process. You just have more colors to have to like organize up. So when I first made this and I tied the knot, I arranged the colors Roy G. Biv, and it was a little bit of a challenge to keep them aligned while I was working on it. But it looks, I mean, you can see it did straighten out. It does look perfect now. So
it's like anything when you're starting crochet, it's always tough to get your starts. Just the same way with weaving or tubular crochet is like really difficult for me to start it and see the pattern.
Yeah. So you can see my last color on here that I did was this this row of yellow. So that's great that this organized out this way because I would have probably gotten distracted and picked up like a different color. But you can see that it's kind of laid out perfectly where the next one, the outermost thread is the one you do your next round with, and it is green. So I'm going to take my green and my blue and do the forward knots all the way. I'm going to just do the forward knots all the way across with just the green. And so you can see that when I pull these knots tight, with the other one, if I pulled it too tight, the knot started to like rotate because the material was slick. But I can pull this as tight as I want all day long. And since it's cotton, it just makes like a super thick, dense, like it feels kind of reminds me of like the underside of like a carpet, where it's like so dense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is pretty sturdy. I like wearing these because you can wear them, like tie them on. And I wore my heart bracelet when I finished it. I wore it for like a week straight in the shower, washing my hands. When I went to sleep, I just didn't bother taking it off because I didn't notice it for the,
Nice and light.
Yeah, it's nice and light. It's not itchy. And since it's sturdy cotton, nothing happened to it. It was perfectly fine when it got wet. So we're just doing forward knots, 2 forward knots per thread, all the way across. And as you knot down towards the center, you can see the orientation shift again. So now the next one we know is going to be this dark blue. It's very satisfying the way it comes together, like effortlessly. This is what they consider to be like the most basic bracelet that a beginner should pick out. Not with as many colors, but this chevron design where you do the first half in forward knots, and then you do the second half with backwards knots starting at the opposite side, and then you do a forward knot in the middle to join them. Because you don't have to memorize a pattern, it's technically memorizing pattern, but I have used the website Bracelet Book, and those have a bunch of free knotting patterns that have it's basically kind of like a graph, and it has a bunch of colored arrows showing you what type of knot to do on which row to create a really intricate design. I made an intricate flower bracelet for my friend Lily. I made a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin one for my friend Jason. I made a rainbow one that was they were like interlocked rainbow S shapes for my friend Aiden, and some spirals for my friend Clover, like a green and purple. I've been making them like crazy. They're super fun. I actually have another one wherever I put it. I might have left it in my room, one that's a more intricate design. I'll be right back. I'll show the potential of this craft.
There's a lot of potential. I can see it from here. Pretty cute. Has always been making these bracelets like crazy.
This one is my current prize. I'm so happy about it. I'm making this this intricate heart design for my friend Annalise, who is graduating high school soon, and she and I have very similar taste in colors and patterns. She likes bows and hearts like I do, so I'm making this bracelet for her. The colors look kind of muted in the screen, but I'm using red, white, and pink. So yeah, this is
Lovely.
all the same knots that I showed here are the exact same knots being put into place here, just in a different order, using different colors and, you know, not taking one color and carrying it all the way across, but like kind of switching the colors around with different little, it's pretty fun. I learned everything from YouTube, but this is what the
Nice.
back looks like. It's kind of shiny.
I love making so good.
Thanks.
And Kathy, so if you make a mistake, you will be able to see it wrong color. Yeah, but you know, you see it right on the spot, like you see it right away. And just pick it out with
I take a needle. I have needles everywhere, you know, and pins and stuff for my sewing. And so sometimes I'll see that I messed up. Actually, when I first started this bracelet, I didn't know I was going to do a chevron because when I was teaching Lily how to make a friendship bracelet, I was showing her originally how to do one that was just straight diagonal lines. And so I tried to do it, but I did not at all like how it came out. So I ended up doing like 4 rows of knotting. I think I got to maybe the green or the blue in the straight when I decided I didn't like it, and I used a needle to pick out every knot that I did. 4 rows worth.
That's a lesson in patience.
It is, but it's not that bad because you can clearly see, like, you know, the knots. I might have made a mistake just now from yapping so hard. We'll find out in a minute. If it doesn't look right, then
nowhere to hide.
Facts.
Yeah, and you know what? A finished one, you could add, I saw a comment earlier that said that you could add beads, you can add lots of little extras. Charms. There's a lot of potential.
Didn't notice what I was doing there. Here we go.
A lot of potential. Yeah, look, check up on that, the Free People Birkenstock slide charm. And they have a little piece of a bracelet. It's so cute. I was like, that's so funny. Like these things that we're into lately, they're making a comeback.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like all the things I've been going through different phases of things that I've been interested in, like stuff I've just been embracing stuff that I liked when I was a little kid. And I don't care if I'm grown. I was just enjoying it anyway, like video games I used to play and TV shows like H2O. And then it was weird because I started watching that mermaid show again from like the early 2000s, and then it became popular again. People were talking about it. I was like, wow, that's odd.
All right, go close, go and tight. Stimili wants to see how you were doing the backward knot.
Are you doing backwards knots?
The other side, you're doing a backward knot. It's like a different shape. It's a P instead of a 4.
I might have to back up. Like if I get closer, they won't be able to see anything. Get this far away. All right. So when I do the backwards knots, here's what the forward knot looks like, and the backwards knot is just that same thing, but you just do it the other direction. So with the forwards knot, I take my working thread is essentially what is the working thread for each color. It's going to be blue this time. When you're doing a forward knot, you want that to be on the left, and then you want your next thread that you're going to be knotting on top of to be on the right for a forwards knot. So you make a 4 shape with your working thread. So keep this one straight, the one that's about to get knotted on, and then do this one. That's the 4. It's going over, and then you want to just take that blue thread that's just crossed over and pull it through here. Pull it through your loop, and then take it and drag it all the way up to the top. If you spread them apart like this, your knot might look kind of funny, so you want to pull it upwards. I'm going to do it a second time right here. And then so here's how you do the backwards knot. It's kind of the same. You do cross the working thread over the other one, but instead your working thread is going to be on the right instead of the left. So now here's our one that's getting knotted on. Keep that straight. And then this one we're going to make a P shape with the working thread over the other one. So it's laying on top. And then you pick up that working thread from inside that loop like this, just like a basic knot. And once you've got it looped, just take your working thread and slide it up to the top of the knot. And then here's it again. P shape. Grab your tail of your working yarn and pull it through that loop and drag it up to the top. And then we want to do that to all the threads until we get into the center here. So we're going to go and keep knotting backwards to get into the middle. So with the chevron, if you're working on, you work from like the backwards knots are being made right to left, and then the forwards knots are being made left to right. You're just converging in the middle, and then you join them. And that's how you finish a round, or row, I guess. But yeah, this next color I think is going to be the pink one. So we do that P shape for the backwards knot. Pull our tail through the loop, slide the knot up to the top, and repeat. And excuse me, there's also lots of YouTube videos that will describe it to you the exact same way. But once you just get the hang of it a little bit, it's pretty easy to remember, and then you can do it without thinking about it. It took me a minute to learn, though.
You could also have a little diagram, I think that you can, that's in
I
that
used one, yeah. I used a
to show
diagram,
the
orientation.
knots. Yeah, 'cause sometimes it can be a little bit hard to remember what shape of knot, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've actually seen diagrams when you're making friendship bracelets and you're reading patterns that are like not the chevron pattern and not the super basic ones. They're going to show you forwards knots, backwards knots, forward backward, and backward forward. Now the last two do sound kind of like confusing and intimidating. I really feel like they should have a different name for it, but it's pretty self-explanatory because when we do a backwards knot, we do this P shape over it, and we do that same exact maneuver twice, the same thing. But if you're going to do a backwards forwards knot, you do half of a backwards one like we just did, and then your second one, your second knot, to finish it on the same working thread will be a forwards knot. And when the reason you do that is when you see these, anytime you have any sort of like turning, like the angles on this thing are there's some like, it's not perfectly going straight down or, just a stripe. There's turning happening, especially at the edge of the heart. It comes down this way and then it turns that way. And that's when you need to use a forward backward or backward forward knot. They either call it a BF or an FB for patterns and stuff. And like they show you in the way of like symbolizing with arrows on the patterns. It took me a minute to memorize it, but now I can do it pretty quickly and easily. And I'll cross out a row once I've finished it. And then so I don't get confused and I'll read it. And you read the patterns, left to right, usually, unless they tell you otherwise. But with the chevron pattern, you just need to know backwards and forwards, and you just repeat it. Make another backwards one right here. Go. So now we've made it in the center with the backwards knots. I'm going to go back and pick up that blue I started a minute ago and finish my forwards knots from left to right across these colors. And then that will, once we meet in the middle, we'll be finished with the blue on this repeat of the rainbow. I think it's pretty therapeutic.
It looks like it.
You can do it in the car. You can do it when you're out and about with your friends sometimes. It's just the only thing you have to worry about is your threads getting tangled a little bit. That might happen. But it's fun to do, like, if you have a bunch of embroidery floss or even just cotton yarn. Because, I mean, if you wanted to teach somebody who'd never done it before, cotton yarn might actually be the move because it's bigger and easier to grip and easier to see. So I would definitely recommend that. We actually have some cotton yarn in the stuff that we put out today. We put out a like black and gray worsted weight cotton yarn. We actually should show that soon. I'm going to get off of this.
When you're ready, you can start passing, or I can pass it to you and you can talk about the possibilities.
Oh, yeah, okay. And now we've got our two in the middle. I'm going to tie it up with a forward knot right in the middle just to join those two colors.
Good job.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
It
Who's
feels
that for?
really straight. I don't know, maybe for me. I've made so many bracelets at this point, and I've only made one for myself.
That's funny.
I know. I've been making all of these other ones for my friends, but friendship
It's
bracelet.
to be a friend of Azalea's.
They're very satisfying, and they don't actually take as long as you'd think they do. I need to sip
Nancy
my drink real
says,
quick. There's
"You're a great instructor, Azolia.
thank
You
you.
are. You're very good."
I've taught
You-
3 of my
what's-
friends how to knit.
Yeah, and then the fact that they're all knitting and doing it is pretty amazing.
Thank you.
What was the first thing that you put up on the website? What's the first thing we're gonna look at?
I don't know. I don't remember what the first thing was, but I can grab something random right now and just show it.
Yeah, do it.
So we have a lot of this brand. I'm gonna actually drop that link one more time. So y'all, now that we're talking about the yarn at last, I'm going to paste a link for our newest collection page on the website called the Studio D Stash. And this is just us putting out stuff. We're trying to make room. We keep buying stuff in the studio, and we need more room so we can actually. We wanted to have classes and retreats and stuff. And if we don't get rid of some stuff and make some room and organize our things a bit better, it's never going to happen. So I locked in today for like 6 hours to list a bunch of stuff for you, and this is just round one. So I think one of the first things I listed today were these 2 skeins of Morning Mist Baby Alpaca. It's Baby Alpaca and Silk. Morning Mist is the colorway name, and this is lace weight. Now I get a little intimidated when I see lace weight or fingering weight yarn because I know that it's just so thin, and any project you make with that is going to take the rest of your life.
Yeah, not that one.
Well, since it's so fluffy and soft. Well, it's not really fluffy, but it has like it's got a tender hand. I guess they
It's
say.
really good for
The colorway is
a
nice.
scarf that is like a lace project or something like that, where this is
So what that?
this is fine. This is considered
you
lace
could knot
weight.
with this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could
do
knot
that.
with it. You could
If you
knot with
wanted to make a knot bracelet, you could definitely do it with this, or you could hold this with like a DK weight. Like let's see. Like
It's
these
very
two.
plush. That's the thing about this, is that when I purchased a lot of this yarn, I was in the throes of making really fluffy knit cardigans. And I would hold 2 together, and these variegated colors look awesome with a solid.
Yeah, like even though these don't look like they look like they could go together, they don't really look like they're the same family. You could totally use a solid, and then you would get the most subtle color gradation or what is it? Is it
Gradation.
Gradation? You could get the most like subtle, fluffy, like tender if you hold 2 together while you knit or crochet or whatever, and it would be like locked in. It would look so pretty. I know I'm kind of messing up this game here by holding it out a little piece, but it would look so good. That's what I would do with it personally. Or unless you wanted to make like one of those super like delicate, flowy, lacy shawls where you do like the flower lace work design, I think that would look really good too.
This
Super soft.
is the type that you could bead. You could bead knit this. You just need the right kind of needle and the right hole size. But I have our yarn group was knitting those really delightful sweaters. I'm not sweaters, they were shawls, but they had like a 5-pound bag of beads in them. They were incredible.
Oh, I don't remember.
We were at the retreat.
So
and they're like beautiful.
we only have 2 skeins of this, and there's one listing on the website, so you can get both. I decided not to separate them in case somebody wanted to make something bigger with that. You can make something really nice with 2 skeins. So there's one listing for that on the website right now under the D Stash collection tab. There are 440 yards per skein. It's lace weight, and these are untouched skeins, obviously not knit with or dipped into, not even spun. We don't have actually anything caked to show today. So this is all stuff that has not even been messed with. All right, next.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, did you tell the actual price of what I paid for it?
No.
These are you should say they are discounted.
They're very discounted. You could actually I did a little bit of research today while I was listing everything. I went on eBay and Etsy and the actual websites for some of the businesses. They're not in business anymore, but some of the people that sold this yarn. And I couldn't find them anywhere. They've been just completely removed from the internet. It just didn't exist anymore. So I just kind of priced it pretty low. But some of these I looked up, and there were some people that were selling, like for example, one of these for $24. I was like, whoa, that's so crazy.
The kind that it is, that cashmere.
This is baby cashmerino. It is merino wool, microfiber, and cashmere. This is DK weight yarn, and it's so soft. It's so decadent. And you know what? I think we have 4 of these of this gray, and I put these in one listing together so you can get all 4 at once. I didn't want to do too much like separation and like creative pairing. If somebody was liked something and wanted to make a big project with it and didn't want to have to go dig around.
That's enough for like a small sweater. And I think it's washable, or a small baby blanket,
Yeah, for sure.
if you were to do that. So we had the idea that someone that wanted to learn how to knit or crochet, this would be a good place to start with if you wanted to get a couple of our lots, because they're priced pretty low. We need to make space in the studio. This is round 1, and we have another big bag of yarn to price. And what we're going to do is, the next thing we're going to do is get that in the next couple days. A couple of things of paintings and some fabric. Oh, Caroline says those would make some nice cat blankets too. With that cashmere, yes. Yeah, there's a lot of things you could make. I tend to make, I'm making a lot of time. I make things that are not too time consuming. I have so many projects, y'all, so many projects on the needle, and big projects have been kind of not on my agenda lately. But some smaller ones, this is a nice treat. I remember getting this. This is a really beautiful yarn.
This is exclusive. This says right
That's
here.
Probably a sack purchase.
It says luxurious hand-dyed yarns created by the kangaroo dyer. It's 75% wool, 25% nylon. So it's literally like the exact thing you want for socks. You could probably make like 2 pairs of socks with the amount that's here, I bet.
Well, depending if you made ankle or.
Oh yeah, that's true. It would depend. And then it says each skein is dyed by hand, so subtle variations in colors and yardage are natural exclusively for Valley yarns. So when I looked this one up, I could not find it anywhere. I could not find it anywhere on the internet, and we have one. So since this was on its own and this was on its own, and I kind of like the colors together, these are in a pair on the website as well. Like you can buy both of these. This one is this Ironstone Yarns English Mohair. It's 78% mohair, 13% wool, 9% nylon, 960 yards. I love working with mohair because while like when you pick up the yarn itself, it feels like it's really thin. The fluffiness on it gives it almost like it gives it an airy thickness. And
the halo is what they call it.
Yeah, the halo. And when I made my bubblegum mohair sweater, it was the exact same weight of yarn as this, but I used a significantly larger needle than I thought I would need. And it looked great because I did lace work. So mohair is so perfect for lace work. And you could use that. You could use the two together if you wanted to, since they're both wool. That's beautiful. In a listing together on the website. In case anybody missed the link, here's that here. We are trying to destash so we can make room in the studio for activities and events. And if we don't clear out some of these boxes, we're going to be swimming in it. So next, this one y'all are going to pass out over because I know I almost did. Yeah, get ready. This one.
That was hard to part with. I love Madeline Tosh. So I have, I don't want to say I have an embarrassing amount of Madeline Tosh and Malabrigo, but I do. And I am sharing some of my colors. I made a hat with this, and it was a crochet shell. It took a lot of stuff, but that halo that's on it, it's like white with a dark fluff, gives you a really beautiful stitch definition.
It definitely has the vibe of Malabrigo because it's got a little bit of, it's a little bit thick and thin, but at the same time,
not as thick and thin as
not like Nara. No, there's no spots on this where it's like dangerously thin or anything like that. It's this is fingering weight. So you could make the most luxurious pair of socks of your life in here.
So I never made socks. That was always exclusively a hat or like a cowl because it's actually really soft.
Oh yeah, and if I happen to not include enough information on each listing, I was at it with this for like 6 hours today, and I went and I put as much information as I could find about each yarn in the description of all of the listings individually. So if you need any more information, like the gram weight of like an extra ball of yarn, just message me about it. But yeah, this one, I found this, and then I found this in a bag next to it. So I guess this was dipped into. I assume this is leftover from a hat, but this is going to get tossed in there. And this, I think on their website, is priced at like 36, 38, and that is not what I priced on this website. So I did my own research. You're welcome to look at too, but I'll warn you right now, everything I put out today is very discounted since we've held on to it for a long time and some of it's been a little bit used. But this skein obviously has not been dug into. It's 100% superwash merino wool, 420 yards, fingering weight. It's definitely decadent. I kind of want to put my face on it, but I'm not gonna. So I may be greasy.
You don't want to
be greasy on it.
All right, be so greedy.
Next, this one. This one was hard to part with because I follow. This is
that's enough
Soho.
for the. I bought that to make the. There's a tank top. It's called the top down knit tank top. It's not really a tank top. It's called a shell top, and it's super easy. It's a yoke that keeps increasing until you get to underneath the arms, and then it's just straight down. And that was plenty enough to make the large Gormy says. How many yards are on there? It's a good yardage on that.
Oh yeah, this is 439 yards per skein, and these are perfect untouched skeins. There were no leftover balls lying around. I believe this is fingering weight.
It's the same as this. So
yeah,
if you crochet, this is the silk version of this, and I have one ball left that I already started, so I just might as well use it, right? So it's a similar. It makes this marled look, and this is the Azalea's grimacing. She doesn't like my crocheting of any kind of yarn lately because she's like, it's a yarn hog. Because it is, because it makes
a yarn hog. If you're using really beautiful yarn, you know that half that yarn is going to be wrapped up inside the stitch of the crochet, and you're not even going to be able to see it or enjoy it. But I'm not going to be a snob on I wasn't going to say anything, but
I could see your eyes.
It's okay. I mean, it's not my project. Me personally, if I have a nice yarn, I will be knitting that. It's like crocheting Malabrigo. Like, okay, you can do that. Obviously, I can't tell anybody what to do, but I personally would not be doing that. So, anyway, Pearl Soho. I follow these guys on Instagram, and I have watched many of their YouTube tutorials when I was trying to figure out their short rows video. I've watched probably 16 times because I was trying to figure out what was going on. But they're cool. They got good videos and they got good yarn. It has a really nice feel. It's 100%, or no, it's wool and alpaca and linen, but it doesn't feel scratchy, and it has a nice like stripe. The colorway is called Salt and Pepper.
And it makes a nice marl.
I'm into it. I like it. I almost kept this one, but I decided we needed to make some money and some room. So these are also on the website together on the D-Stash page. You are a fabulous salesperson as well, Azalea. I bought one and I don't even knit yet.
Oh, well,
I hope you do start knitting because it's super fun. I'm addicted to it. I can't stop. I have multiple knit projects. Oh, that's these. I'm gonna actually bag these up as soon as the stream's over tonight.
Yeah, we'll be
just to protect it from anything happening. But we left it out today after I priced it.
So yeah, you can't leave the stuff out.
This one's done.
We're gonna end up touching it.
Oh yeah, I brought these out earlier, but I didn't say anything about them. This is the same. We have a lot of Debbie Bliss. Bliss and Baby Cash Merino. We got more Debbie Bliss with the Prima. This bag ain't even been undone. It's like sealed tight. So I didn't bother opening that one in case somebody wanted to open that themselves. So if you see this on the website, you'll see I took the pictures from outside of the bag. So I didn't want to unseal it. So we'll show this one next. But yeah, I brought this one out earlier. It's the same exact thing as this, but a different colorway. I think they look good together. This kind of, what would that be? Mauve?
It's kind of a pale lavender. It looks more gray on my screen.
Super soft.
But it is very delightful.
These are also.
What's this? Oh, here's some more Debbie Bliss. This is a wool cotton.
There's a whole bag.
It's a bag. This is enough for like a top.
All right, you guys, get ready for this one. All right, this is Debbie Bliss.
It's kind of an avocado.
Cotton. Yeah, avocado color, kind of like a avocado maybe. Yeah, I like this one a lot. It has a nice feel for cotton. It's a blend of wool and cotton. It looks like it's exactly 50-50 merino wool and cotton. Sometimes I don't like the feeling of cotton,
it's soft,
but this one's pretty soft. It has the sturdiness of cotton, but the soft hand feel of wool, and it's not scratchy either. Made in Italy. I think all Debbie Bliss is made in Italy, isn't it? That's good.
You know what?
Fire.
It's funny. Sarah, who has a house in Italy, and she goes there every few months. She was telling me that a lot of the mills that are in Italy just manufacture it and send it directly to the United States and to Europe, and they don't even keep it. And she was like, I was like, don't you get access to some of the most killer yarns in the world?
No, she told me that, and I was disgusted. But you know what?
They sent it here, so why be disgusted? We get it.
I was just disgusted because she
On
was
her
asking
behalf.
me. She was mentioning, well, that's a story for a different time. But there's 4 complete untouched balls of this, and then 1 that has been lightly dipped into. So I think I priced this just for the
It's
4.
these are priced right. So
You guys
can
will
Google it and see and check it, but they're priced right.
Debbie Bliss is not cheap brand. So here we go.
Millie says, Cynthia, you are lucky to have a great business partner in Azalea. Yes, I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
So those Debbie Bliss is done. Next
you do
round
the
of Debbie Bliss. No, that's the finale.
Oh, so that
So-
is the finale.
That is the finale. Y'all see in a second. So this is Debbie Bliss Crema. It's 80% viscous bamboo and then 20% merino wool. I don't know I think I know what this feels like because there was a loose skein of a different color lying around, but it didn't have the tag, so I kept it aside. I only wanted to send you guys ones that had the tag so you could see what it was you were getting. But it's pretty soft.
Mhm.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, and it washes great. It's one that our friend Sarah, the one that's a physical therapist, and also she's probably the best knitter aside from Rick. And I would even, I don't know, she says that Rick is better. He and Elizabeth own Pearl's Yarn Emporium in Asheville, and we go over for the meets occasionally. And that dude is one of the most skilled knitters, but Sarah is equally as fantastic. And she makes washcloths with that. I was like, that's pretty luxurious.
Yeah,
They come out really beautifully.
All right, this is the next one. This by far, I don't know if you might have, I assume you got this at SAF.
It's been years, so
because I'm going to assume you got this at SAF because this is incredibly mysterious. I went to Google this, and there's limited information on it on the tag. You see, they don't tell you very much. They give you a lot of room for that logo right there. That could have been some text, yeah, but it's okay. I don't even know what the colorways are. I just know this one's a light gray and this one's a darker, more medium gray. And I was able to find out that where did I find it? That it's made in Sweden somewhere, and you bought it for $13.50, and it says Woolery on the tag, so that might have been
the website,
yeah, like SAF or something. So I did not find a lot of information about this because I guess it's a Swedish yarn brand, but it's a very sturdy feeling wool, and
it has that kind of squishy feeling, and it has what I was doing with this was garter stitch. It makes, like, this one is a very thin weight, but once it's made up, you can hold 2 together, and if you hold them like with another color,
or even together, if you held the light gray and the dark gray, you could have like a total. It would be a really nice, a subtle color shift that would kind of make it pop when it's 2 colors together that don't even look like 2 colors together. It would look, whenever you knit with it, it would look like a 2-toned yarn was spun together. I like that with knitting when you hold 2, like a fluffy yarn with a plain yarn. That's good. But yeah, these are also on the website. I put these together because they're the only 2 of this brand. They feel really sturdy wool, and I almost kept these 2.
I use a lot of those to knit with one, like 2. Oh, here, do these.
Oh yeah, this one. Oh yeah, I almost.
I have 2 of these. She's been debating.
I decided to pass this on. So this brand, I don't know if anybody in here is familiar, but JulietB.com went out of business. I have no idea when, but the last I saw anything of them that I could find on the website, I was I was investigating today. I was researching, trying to pinpoint colorway names and all sorts of stuff. But they're not around anymore. Their website is gone. All of their patterns were taken from Ravelry. It's all very mysterious. But we found a complete kit upstairs I have no idea when you got this. I assume you bought it online because there was a little invoice attached that looked like it was bought online. It looked ancient. But this is a shawl pattern called Hadley. And it has a pattern inside on this card right here. So here's the whole little pamphlet. I made sure that there was an actual pattern inside. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh. I just saw this.
I know, I'm sorry.
And that is such a beautiful hat. And I thought I was going to get lucky because look, it looks like it's going to be another pattern. And you open it and it's just other I'm going to get mad. Like, I don't know. I even looked for that beret the other night when I found this. And
I have a pattern that's actually close to that.
Makes me want to crash out. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, anyway, this one actually does have a pattern in it from beginning to end and a chart on the back. And then here's the yarn. We have two of these kits, but they're two different colorways. This one I really like. It's kind of this deep greenish turquoise. It's a lace weight. It's actually, I think it said it was silky alpaca lace, which is actually scrumptious. It has the best hand feel. It feels like when you brush your hand on it, it does feel like alpaca, but when you squish it, it has that same kind of sound that silk makes when you squish it. It's kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but it feels kind of crunchy. Yeah, this one's super soft and nice. And then this one I called these don't have colorway names, so I called this one just regular turquoise, and this one I called olive. So when you if you find the listing on our website on that page, it'll show you the front picture will show you which colorway I put for the set. I made two separate listings because the last time I did one where it was a drop down menu, people got confused. So I just made two separate listings for each kit. But it comes in this nice little canvas printed bag from this business you cannot get anything from anymore. And I actually went on eBay and there were very, very few listings having anything to do with Julep Bee on there. And the ones that they did have were really expensive. They were top dollar because you can't get it anymore. They literally are gone. And they all of their you have to pay top dollar if somebody has one of these these patterns. People are selling these pieces of paper because the patterns are not anywhere to be found. I scoured Ravelry for like an hour. I couldn't find it. All right, so that's the first one. That's the first Julep Bee shawl kit, Hadley. And then where's the other one? I don't have it. Here's the other one. It's identical with the same pattern, same bag, but now we have like a lavender and a gray. These two go really well together. It's the same type of yarn.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful. You only need one skein of each to make this really pretty lace weight. And then it looks like the bottom has something really fancy happening here.
That's just when you block it. You know, you can stretch it out to really show your pattern. But that's if you're watching and you're like, I knit. But if you know someone that's wanting to learn, this is a good place to start because you can get really good quality yarn that we're making space for. I picked up a lot of fabric, so I'm kind of moving into a fabric direction. Although the fabric that I got some from Kate, and I need to make some space. That's all the things I've got to make space for it. So we're making bags. We're making plush pillows. There's a lot of things we've been making upstairs. And right now we have a goal to have space to clear off one of the tables so we can have our friends over and they can work upstairs and we can teach classes up there. And that's not going to happen when there are like literally 3 shelves full of really good quality fabrics and yarns. So if you have friends that are interested in yarn and fabric, send them over to our D-Stash page and have them look around because it's there's a lot of good deals to be had.
It'd be good for gifts too. If you know somebody that knits and they like stuff like this, I put this on the website for $40. And I found something not by the exact same brand, but a very, very similar looking shawl with a pattern and the 2 skeins of yarn. And it was about $120. So, you know, if you have somebody that likes to make stuff like that, but doesn't want to pay top dollar, one of those fancy Julep Bee kits, $40. All right, I'm going to drop the link again. I have to do it every couple minutes because I know the comments refresh on Facebook. So just in case anybody missed it, make sure that everybody can browse. This one is also mysterious. I have no idea where you got this. I assume either secondhand or at maybe Saf. But this is an Italian brand. It's called Valentino I don't know what any of this other stuff on it means, what these numbers are, because I couldn't find a lot of information about this brand on the internet. I typed in everything I could think of on the label.
This makes like this. So it doesn't make a stripe. It makes this type of thing.
Yeah, that's nice. I'd like a stripe, or I like
It's not a stripe. It'll give you kind of a marled look. So
yeah, I like this one. This is 100% cotton too. But there's not a lot of information I put on the list. There's not a lot that I could find. And I certainly could not find this exact yarn anywhere on the internet. So I just kind of guessed how much this would be. But yeah, that's about it. I've got 2 of these that are untouched.
and we will have some surprises in all the yarn orders we'll throw in because we have so much of it. We're putting in like
We're probably everybody that orders yarn is probably going to get a little gift. That's what my idea was.
Of extra here that we're making space for.
So here we go. Here's another one that I've grabbed here. This one is nice. I like the texture of this. This is kind of, I believe, this is like Aran weight.
Yeah, and that's a Tweety. That's from Knit Picks.
I wonder, I hope I remembered to write Aran weight on it because I was so, like, every listing I was doing, I was typing, oh, lace weight, lace weight. This is not lace weight. So if I accidentally type lace weight, know that it's more of a worsted or Aran weight because Aran is like one step up from worsted. This is Knit Picks. There's a great deal of Knit Picks in here. It looks like you really liked it. This is the colorway Marsh. Or no, it says DK, but there is no way. Y'all tripping. That is not DK weight. That's at least worsted at the smallest. But
well, sometimes when it's in use, they say that.
That's true because it could be kind of a springy yarn. Then as soon as there's any tension put on it, it's thinner. That could be true. I probably put DK weight in the description. But yeah, this one is 55% merino wool, 25% superfine alpaca, and then 20% Donegal tweed. 123 yards per ball. We've got 2 full untouched balls and then 2 that have been dipped into. And what I assume with this one is that you were making booties.
How did you know?
Because you have 2 separate equal looking balls, and that to me sounds like the 2 booties at a time action. So
they're soft.
This whole
I
set
call them booties,
together.
but they're soft.
They're thick crochet socks that she makes. But this has a really, really soft hand to it. What did I say it was? Wool, alpaca, and tweed. Yeah, it's super soft. It's not.
All right.
Sometimes I get worried about wool if it's going to be itchy, but that's not itchy.
No.
All right.
What's last?
There's a couple of this in here. This would be great for anybody that is learning to crochet or knit because this is 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. Yarn Gang. I don't know where you got this. You might. Oh yeah, it says distributed by Michael's Stores. I didn't look into how much that was at Michael's, but I put these out at I think $4. So if that's I might alter that. Well, I don't know because I'm certainly not keeping this. I have no use for cotton or acrylic. But somebody who is just learning how to knit or crochet, they have little samples on the tag, and it would be perfect for amigurumi. For making one of these. You could certainly make one of these with this because this is not going to slide around. It did say it's a little bit of acrylic, but it's mostly cotton, and it will hold a knot for a friendship bracelet. But yeah, I made 2 separate listings for these. I had this one for the 2 black ones, full, untouched, and then 3 of the gray ones together. Get that out of here. All right, what else is here? What else?
The showstopper. So
is it time for the showstopper?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's it.
We showed this. Okay, perfect. Okay, you guys. This one, fantastic. Almost passed out. All right, so more Knit Picks.
We will be back onto our regular beading and stones, and hopefully we're doing a casting. We have one for Sunday. We will be at the Bee Festival, so it's going to be something simple Sunday night. Wednesday, we have another project for that. What was it that I was making? That necklace. I had it over here, but I didn't see it.
All right.
I brought it downstairs.
This is not the last thing, but all of the stuff I'm about to show is in kind of a similar family. So this is more Knit Picks, but this is the baby alpaca cloud iris color, and I was able to scrounge together 5 full skeins of this. It's got 440 yards per skein, and it's so like decadently butter soft. I love the color too. It's kind of like if you look closely at it, you can see so many different color variations, but they called it iris. So I guess it does have like a
multicolor.
it is multicolor. It looks purple, but then you look closely at it and there's like little streaks of like yellow in there that you wouldn't even notice otherwise. So there's 5 of these on the website. I put these all together just in case somebody had a big project in mind that they wanted to have or they wanted to make. Set those aside. We're doing the speed brown now because my throat's starting to hurt just a little bit. Okay, this is also Nitpicks. I think everything else I'm showing here is from Nitpicks, and they're still in business. So if you want to take a look at what they've got, that's the brand Nitpicks of all this stuff. So this one is called Opal Heather. This is heathered lace weight, 100% merino wool. So it's a little different from this one. This one's alpaca, and this one is wool, but it's super plush and soft. Give it a squeeze, Mom. She's squeezing it. It's good. It's fluffy. There are 440 yards per skein, and this I would say is this is lace weight for sure. Very fine, but you could hold this with you could even hold that with this, and that would be good. These two together would be pretty. It would give
That's
it a halo.
my jam is to take a worsted weight and a thin with like it's like if I can find one with cashmere, then it's like you get the strength of the thicker wool and the flushness of the cashmere.
Now, I had originally found 5 of these, but I loved the grapey eggplant color so hard that I kept 2 of them for myself. I ended up folding. So this one is called the colorway is Vineyard Heather. This is also lace weight, 100% merino wool. Is there any more information on the tag? Nope. 440 yards per skein. I put all of these together, also just in case somebody else had a project they wanted that was a larger, so they wouldn't have to get 3 separate. This is also, I think, I just love a heathered yarn because you can see it's like, it looks purple, but then you bring it up close and you can see all these different color variations.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
I care for it. I do. All right.
Now I am mostly doing worsted weight. So, like, even though I use this, I have so much yarn, especially I went through a phase of lace weight, and I must have, there's another one, Kid Silk Haze from Rowan yarn. I got a lot of that too, and I have a huge bag of it, and I still use that. I hold one together, but at some point, I only have so much time. Yeah, that's painful because how pretty though. It's like blue grains.
I think this one is called Midnight. It is like kind of like a super deep kind of indigo turquoise teal color, I guess. But I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it's like navy with a little bit of teal. It looks
black, and then you look at it in the light, and it definitely has that tweed again, or that heather. I mean, not tweed, but this is the same as the other ones. Merino wool, lace weight. I fought myself to keep one of these because I knew it would be better if I put out both of them. But these both have.
I let Azalea pick through my yarn. I have a pretty extensive collection.
That's
it. Good job, daughter. You did it.
That's what I was doing all day today, y'all.
He listed my overstock of yarn. And I know we'll do some fabric at some point, maybe next week, maybe after the Honeybee Festival. We'll do a yarn one or a fabric. I mean,
we may don't pre-tell that yet.
Yeah, that's just idea. That's like the dream. But I'm also going through. We have another thing of beads, but the beads is a bigger project because it's a lot of counting. So for me to split the strands, I am patting it between easier projects, which is yarn and fabric.
Hello.
And between the beads. Where's that cat?
He's not here. He left. But anyway, that was all of the yarn for now. I might do another like huge pile, taking lots of pictures, Googling it, investigating it, but I'm not complaining because I do love yarn and I was feeling all of it, squeezing it and smelling it like a freak.
Oh, Hear
him. I'm here. He's running. Come on. That was sweet.
Where's his bowl?
I even gave him a snack earlier, and he has no forgiveness in his heart. He's ready though. she's fixing it for him. But yeah, I'm obsessed with some of this yarn. I didn't even know you had some of this stuff.
Yeah, you haven't even seen the end of it.
I was opening boxes that were collecting dust from like 2013.
Don't talk about my collection. Hey, I kept it very, very well organized and
very tidy. I mean, stuff was together, so I have no
wrapped up so it wasn't getting any damage or moths or anything. Double, triple bag. With
how wide his tongue is.
Appa.
So cute.
You guys watched The Last Airbender? He's just like Appa. You're holding good for him.
I am holding it good.
Let me see if he wants a little bit more.
He's looking at that thing.
Now, I know everyone is probably like, how come she starves him so that he's acting like...
Nobody's saying that. Literally nobody thinks that. They take one look at him and they know that this cat is not, he's not going hungry. He don't even look like he going hungry. He just like to eat. No way. This is a whole 20 pounds of cat. And that does not happen by accident. There's no mystery. All right.
That cat, he's like, is it good? He's like, did I do a good job?
Yeah. Well, you left for a while. I didn't see you, bro.
Right. He's like, I was getting bored since you wouldn't let me play with a yarn.
Yeah, he was getting banned. He was not allowed to go mess with that. But yeah, we had fun doing this. I'm pretty worn out though. My throat's starting to hurt, but I muscled through all that yarn.
And all right, so this week we will be on the game of prepping for the Honeybee Festival, which is this Sunday. That's our next thing. So we're going to be pricing jewelry. We're making jewelry. I think on Wednesday we'll do another tutorial. I have some stones that I've been sitting on, and I will share those. These will be adding to this. I'm trying to make space in the studio so I can invite y'all to come up and see me. Come up into the studio and have a place to work that isn't covered up with bags and bags of yarn and fabric. I mean, not that I don't like, obviously I like it. I think we all do. All right, my friends, thank you for joining us. We will see you on Wednesday, and we love you out there and hope you are crafting